Russian President Vladimir Putin says he's ready for talks with the U.S. and is repeating some of President Trump's own statements about the war in Ukraine. In an interview on Russian state television, Putin said he agreed the war could have been avoided if President Trump was in the White House. He also said he's ready to discuss nuclear arms control and economic issues with the U.S. The Russian military launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine almost 3 years ago. Putin's remarks come 2 days after President Trump posted on Truth Social about ending the war, saying in part, quote, "If we don't make a deal, and soon, I have no other choice but to put high levels of taxes, tariffs, and sanctions on anything being sold by Russia to the United States." CBS News national security contributor Sam Vinograd joins us for our weekly national security wrap-up. Sam, what do you make of Putin's remarks?
I think this is manipulation by Putin at its best. President Putin is repeating very publicly to President Trump everything that President Trump wants to hear in an effort to probably manipulate President Trump into trying to push for a very specific deal to end Russia's war with Ukraine. President Putin said, for example, that the 2020 election was stolen, that the war would never have happened if Trump was in office, and more. Now, President Trump, for his part, is using a combination of carrots and sticks to try to get Putin to the negotiating table. Remember, Trump at one point said he would end this war within 1 day if in power. Well, he's now changed his tune a bit and has given his special envoy for Ukraine, General Keith Kellogg, 100 days to negotiate an end to this war. Trump has threatened taxes and tariffs and other sanctions against Putin, while also indicating that he'd like to speak with him. Putin has expressed his own openness to connecting with President Trump. So I do think that we should expect a call between the two leaders in the near term.
Let's turn to another topic here in the U.S. The Trump administration has pulled the security detail of multiple former officials. People recognize the names, including former National Security Advisor John Bolton, former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, former top health official Anthony Fauci. What's the significance, and do these people still face threats?
Well, President Biden extended federal security protection for 3 individuals that you've named that were involved in President Trump's Iran policy. And then President Biden extended security protection for Dr. Anthony Fauci when he left federal service just a couple of months ago. This was based, Lindsay, and I was involved in a lot of these discussions. This was based on a very complex threat assessment that showed that there were active threats against these individuals based on their time in public service. And they warranted security protection because those threats were very real. There is, to our knowledge, no analysis that these threats have diminished since President Trump came into office. Instead, arguably, the threats against these individuals have increased over the past couple of weeks with the past couple of days with the inauguration of President Trump, increased vitriol against Dr. Fauci for his role in COVID-19, as well as President Trump's likely policy towards Iran over the coming months. This does look like retribution rather than a threat-based assessment of what's needed to keep these individuals safe from threats from Iran, and in Dr. Fauci's case, threats from likely anti-government violent extremists.